I'm absolutely thrilled. It's such, I just can't describe how fantastic it is to have Dr. Anna Temple, paediatrician, come to Kapiti. We don't get clinicians coming to Kapiti to talk about nutrition and child health. They just don't do it. Do they? When was the last time you guys went to an event where a clinician stood up and talked real about nutrition? So I'd like to introduce Anna. She has come all the way from the States to take up a position as a paediatrician at Wellington Hospital. So for parents out here who live in this catchment, you may meet Anna in that setting. Anna's been a paediatrician for 13 years and is passionate about children's health, nutrition and exercise, and uses an integrative medicine approach to the care that she provides for the children that come into your world.
Right.
Awesome. So please, come on.
Okay. Hi everyone. So thank you so much for having me. I will tell you first my story on Juice Plus, and then I'll tell you my approach to medicine and other things. So actually, my family has been on this product for 8 years, and I have 3 children. One of my children is currently 15, one's 13, and one is 10. My husband and I have been together for 20 years. The only reason I bring that up is because he's been my most difficult customer of all time. So we've been on the product for 8 years, and I've not sold it in the United States because as a clinician, I feel that it was a conflict of interest, and if I recommend a product that I'm selling, then it seems that I have ulterior motives, and I adore this product, and I wanted my patients to be on it because they wanted to be on it, not because I'm doing it. Since I've moved to New Zealand and while waiting for my visa so I can get started, I actually started selling the product myself because I want to use the funds to actually do a teen health series online for a webinar. So I'm using the funds to put back and bring health across the world, really. I have our first seminar is going to be Monday morning, 8 a.m. awkward time here, but it's 2 p.m. in the U.S., so a lot of my teenagers that I take care of are going to be hopping online as for my first Zoom teen health webinar that we're going to do on exam stress and decrease in immune function. So the reason that we started on Juice Plus is because 8 years ago, one of my children my oldest has asthma, and she was on controlled inhaled steroids regularly. She was taking occasional steroids. She was having to do allergy medicines. My middle son was full of snot, and I mean like that green garbage snot that when you're not a parent, you're like, how can parents let those children walk around with those kind of noses? And I was used to be that really awesome parent that didn't have children, and then I had the green snot-nosed child that sometimes at preschool, they're like, you know, if they have green snot, they can't come. I'm like, well, then he's not ever going to have education because he was every day was snot. And then he was found to have allergies and sinus infections, multiple antibiotics. My last one, who's 10 now, had allergies in the United States. His allergies were so bad in the spring that he was on 5 meds, writhing in pain. His eyes were pouring out. They were full of, like on Easter, because that's our spring, red, and he was horrible, miserable, and they were going to refer us to an allergist to do allergy shots. And at that time, we were running through all the activities, and I'm a pediatrician. This is what I do all the time. And we were eating fast food, and on Mondays, I would take my kids to Burger King, and we would have chicken nuggets because I was running the train of my taxi service, as I like to call it, was so busy that I just had no time. So between all their sports, they were eating that. We were getting 1 serving of fruit a day, and then we fell off that, and then it came back. Anywho, after 3 months of all my children being on antibiotics, I had had enough, and I went to a nutrition talk at my kid's school, and she gave a discussion on eating healthy, whatever, and she kind of gave this amazing breakdown, and I freaked out. I went home, I cleaned the pantry, the Doritos were gone, the Cheetos were gone, we're not soda drinkers, but the juice was gone, we got water, and we began the eating healthy revolution, and that was 8 years ago. And we're a fit family, and we're an active family, and my kids' body mass index, they were always on the heavier side. Not heavy, but on the heavier side, and that always bothered me. And anyway, so with all their illnesses and stuff, we changed our diet, and we also went on Juice Plus. And I like to tell people that you don't really buy Juice Plus because you're gonna sit and eat Doritos and Cheetos and drink soda and then have Juice Plus and you're awesome. You're really buying a way of living, and you're buying into a different way of living. You spend money on this product, you're gonna start taking better care of your health, because there's no magic. There's no magic out there. Anything you see on the internet, you're losing weight and you're going to be done quickly and your children will be healthy. There is no magic. I'm sorry to burst the bubble, no magic. So, you know, when I got down to business, we started very small changes. Since we've been on Juice Plus, my children have not been on antibiotics in the past 5 years. I'm not going further because I'm not my recollection, but in the past 5 years, no antibiotics, no steroids, no asthma medicines. My son, who was on 5 allergy medicines at one time, barely takes a Allegra, not even the way you're supposed to take it on an afternoon when his allergies are especially bad, which are not even bad. So to make a long story longer, their health has improved amazing. My husband used to have high blood pressure during residency, high cholesterol. We just got our lab work because of the council had to check us out. And they said they've never seen cholesterol numbers this good and blood pressure this good in people our age, and we're in our mid-40s. So I can tell you that this is what I bought into 8 years ago, and here I am 8 years later, and for a phenomenal product. And again, and I purchased it because I want to pay it forward and continue on with health topics that can benefit other people. The question was initially on what is in those, and so the fruits and the veggies in there, you're right, they're not a replacement, they're certainly an addition. What I have found in my clinic, and when you come see me for your checkup, you actually have to fill out a questionnaire that involves your eating, and I get very specific on your eating, from your water to your milk to your soda, to how many fruits and vegetables, to family dinners, to TV screens in your room. I mean, it's really annoying. Yeah. And so when everybody fills out these questionnaires, I'll tell you that 80% of my patients say they do 2 to 3 servings of fruits and veggies a day. When I sit down and ask them, great, that means you have a serving of fruit at every meal. What do you have for breakfast? Actually, I skip breakfast. I'm like, great, okay, so what about lunch? And they're like, oh, well, the strawberries are mushy, so I don't eat those. And then the apples turn brown in my lunchbox, so I don't eat those. But I drink juice, and I'm like, doesn't count. And so, or fruit gummies, which was one of my favorites, does not count. And so basically, by running and pinning down what are the fruits and veggies that you eat, really, we're talking 1 to 2 servings a day out of the people that say 2 to 3. The folks that go with 5, they're pretty on the ball. I'm not gonna lie. When they say 5 and I go, what do you, they're like breakfast, lunch, dinner, they will tell me every single thing. And then I have, so that's maybe 1% of the population, and the rest of the population is about 1 every other day. And it's always, then we break it down. They're like, what is the biggest issue? Is it the brown apples? Okay, great. Let me give you a tip on how to do the brown apples. Is it the mushy strawberries? Great. Let me give you a tip on the strawberries. So it's not about one day you go home. I mean, I did and emptied my pantry and went completely crazy. But it's a journey. You don't arrive anywhere. It's not like and now I'm great, so therefore, oh, it's awesome. So what the studies show is that in kids, we begin in kids, all the stuff that we do in our childhood prepares us for adulthood. So before it was like, it doesn't matter if you eat crap and Cheetos and McDonald's when you're a kid. Those are fun foods. Those are awesome. It's so boring, water and milk. You need juice and soda, because that's fun. And it won't affect you in any way. Well, what we found is actually the diseases that we have in our 40s are because of how we ate when we were 5 years old. So the damage begins from the beginning. We can even take it back to pregnancy and when the babies are in our bellies and we create life. that the changes happen then. So there's many studies to show that actually in our first 20 years is when we build our bodies for excellence. Then the next 20 years we maintain, we decline. And it's really a horrible graph, and I don't really like to bring that out at all. But it's like up, maintain, and down. And so if we don't do the basis, and a lot of people look at me and they're like, well, if you have asthma, we really need to talk about fruits and veggies. Oh, wait, what? Because studies in Europe were done comparing kids in Europe that were eating the American diet, which I'm really proud to say is fried food and soda and not many fruits and veggies, or the Mediterranean diet that in the United States has picked up this amazing, like, it's the Mediterranean diet. It's fruits and veggies, olive oil, fresh food, basically a raw, I mean, it's just a diet that you would eat if you were on the farm. Those kids who had asthma were put on the Mediterranean diet, they're all European, Mediterranean diet, and the other kids, 50% were on the American diet. The kids on the Mediterranean diet got off their controller medications, their steroid medications, they had lesser asthma flare-ups, they had less allergies, and less eczema. Eczema, allergies, asthma are all inflammatory. And so is acne, so is diabetes, so is dementia, so is high blood pressure, so is heart disease, so is cancer. These are all inflammatory illnesses. And so we approach, only 13% of physicians a survey done by the World Health Organization, only 13% of physicians actually bring up nutrition. And to your point, they will say you need to eat more fruits and veggies and you need to exercise. Okay, thanks, great, sweet. Which is really hard when you're a parent and your kid like flicks them off the plate. And they're like, I don't like it, and I like it because it's green, and I don't like it because it's red. And I had those kids. And it becomes with a small change at your home, but you have to decide that you're gonna make a change. And it's just one small change. Is it gonna be that you take fruits and veggies in a capsule? Because it sounds a little easier. The reason the fruits and veggies in a capsule work for a lot of the kids is because the little bitterness in veggies, actually the more you're exposed to the bitterness in veggies, the more likely they are over time to accept more veggies. There's some kids that genetically like the veggies and not the fruits because of the sugar content, they like more bitterness. The more you get exposed to fruits and veggies over time, the more you're likely to eat more fruits and veggies. The parents that buy the product, again, they've invested in this product, they are putting more fruits and veggies on the table, which then leads to the kids eating more fruits and veggies. And again, it is one of the things that we always talk about, and we go back to attention deficit disorder, we talk about focus, we talk about, and all the other illnesses that we talk about. In my teens, I do a lot of teen work, and they all talk about their fatigue and tiredness and lack of focus and their acne and their hair. And then we go, all right, great, so what do you eat for breakfast? Skip breakfast. Because in the United States, when you're a teenager, you go to school at 6:30 in the morning. It's ridiculous. So we come here and it's heaven. And so they skip breakfast, and then they don't eat anything at lunch. And then they'll come home and they will devour all the garbage. Because teenagers, and really kids, kind of back to your point on having to cut out fruits and veggies. Here's the fact. So kid brains develop from here to here. This is our frontal cortex. This is where we know not to jump off a bridge because it'll hurt. This is where we know to, gosh, you know what? Yesterday I really did a poor job eating. Today I'm really going to just drink some water, eat a lot more fruits and veggies and kind of flush the system out. Maybe I shouldn't, the bad word that comes to mind, I shouldn't actually speak it out. Okay, that's the frontal cortex. It does not work in young children, and it does not work in teenagers. It starts working at 13 to 15 in girls and 15 to 17 in boys. The brain doesn't mature in girls until 25 and in boys until 30. I answered so many questions. So, and the reason I say this, and this is all data based on functional MRIs. This is not just somebody was like, oh, it sounds like you're pretty smart. Okay, so based on functional MRIs, this is how they figured it out. So when the brain develops this way, and this ain't working, all they crave is the midbrain, which is the amygdala. All they crave is junk, color, sex, drugs, activity, video games. The brighter, the louder, the more obnoxious, the better. When they come home, no, they're not going to open the fridge to see if there's any strawberries that were washed by their mama at $1 million at the market. They're not going to do that. But if it's on the counter and it's cut up and it's ready to go, it will get devoured in seconds. I don't have one teenager in clinic that when their mama does that, puts grapes on the table, they're not devoured instantly. Sugar, tasty, delicious, they don't want to go through trouble. So when your teenager or your kid walks into the house starving from school, they're going to go for a bag of whatever processed food because that's easier. That's what their brain is telling them. This is not working again. So we, the parents and caregivers, have to be their frontal brain. So that is one of the things that, because I have a lot of parents who are like, they're 13, they should know by now. Really, they're not going to know for a long time. It's a long time. So that's one change that you can make. Always have fresh fruits and vegetables that are cut up on the table. Not only will the kids, the adults will eat them. My husband goes by and starts like grabbing grapes, and he's a banana guy. He never knew that another fruit existed aside from bananas until I have, quote unquote, tortured him into this existence. So he could live to 106. He calls it the plan to make him suffer 106 years of marriage. He's never gonna get rid of me. So he was the kind of guy, when I eat cherries, he's like, who eats cherries? And I was like, you know, people that are. So now that fruit's sitting on the table, he is eating fruits and vegetables that are something else than a banana. So that's really, I'm gonna stop there and take questions. I can go on for like days, so I'm just gonna stop.
Why does it not replace? Why is it a supplement?
So I mean, I use it. If you said, you know, I really have a tough time getting any fruits or vegetables in the morning, and I'm taking my Juice Plus in the morning, I will count that as I am taking that as a serving. But if you're telling me that you eat no other fruits or vegetables throughout the day, I'm not giving you credit. I go, oh, that's interesting. That's great. Awesome. It will have an effect. Again, it's not magic. So it does. I will give you credit for it as a serving or 2 servings, because I have folks that take more, like the serving size is 2 capsules for adults or 1 capsule for kids, 2 gummies for kids, or 4 gummies of each color for kids. So I have folks that when they get sick, they will double up the dose, which actually I was never a believer until I got sick as a dog and I refused to take antibiotics and I refused to take steroids. And I was like, the only thing I didn't do is double up on that. And I did, and I swear to you, I got better in 48 hours. And now I'm a believer. And I had pain, and I doubled up on the doses, and my pain went away. And which I didn't believe. But it does, I would say, I think it's a gray area. They used to say it was 2 to 3 servings of fruits and veggies, and then it got into a heated debate in the research, in the clinical studies. So then they just stopped saying that altogether, because they couldn't prove it. Yeah. But I do count it as a serving, to a couple servings. Yeah.
So why putting a plate of fruit and veg on the table? Is it because of the eyes see it straight away?
They see it, and it's pretty. It's colorful, but if it's in the fridge, you see a gray fridge. Gray fridge, boring. Oh my God, you go open it, it's exhausting. To look through clear containers of washed fruit, they don't see it. They literally are blind. They're like, there's nothing to eat in the fridge. And then they go, pantry. And if you look at all the garbage food, the more garbage the food, the more colorful the packaging. Because that's what gets your attention. So if you have colorful fruit sitting on the table, it's going to attract their attention first before the gray fridge or the brown pantry. Does that make sense?
And I think, as I mentioned, you know, my 2 youngest ones in particular, I cut their fruit up, and you're right, it was on the table. When they walked in the door, it was on the table. There was always a biscuit as well. So they didn't have to get it out of anywhere. They didn't have to wash it. They didn't have to cut it up.
Right.
And they really didn't have to do a hell of a lot in terms of chewing.
Correct.
Because, you know, it was cut.
Right.
So...
And it's natural sugar. And the natural sugar is going to immediately satisfy that hunger of sugar. Our body doesn't know. They're like, oh, sugar, it feels like it. So that's why fruits are easier than veggies, because they're high content sugar. Which, by the way, that is never the problem. in a weight loss issue is that I am eating just so. I have had one patient that was eating 12 apples a day and she had a weight problem, but that's because 12 apples a day was really excessive and she had no protein in her diet. So we went and fine-tuned. I added protein in her diet. Her apple quantity went down and her weight went, and all she needed was peanut butter. And the mom was like, peanut butter, but that's full of fat and full of other things that we don't want. We've taught we need low fat. Here's another change. Get rid of anything in your house that is low fat or fat free, that is full of sugar and garbage. And the studies are coming out, because I will tell you, doctors don't believe me, but the studies are now actually coming back to back me up, that full fat products, again, where the studies are done on organic, because I'm a big free range, has the chicken been petted and, the cow been loved and, can't be in a pen eating its own feces. But the studies on organic and grass-fed product, grass-fed milk, are showing that full-fat butter reduces your risk of diabetes. Full-fat organic milk reduces your risk for stroke. And the studies are coming out on heart disease, but they're not published yet, so I can't really comment on those. But they are coming, and they're showing that the fat is not the problem, it's the sugar. So the other change I would make is all fat-free, low-fat, has no room in your fridge. Here's the thing. When you eat low-fat, people go, I go on a diet, which is like my most hated word. We're doing a lifestyle change. So when you go on a diet, everyone goes fruits and veggies, and then they're starving. And then they go and eat the garbage. I'm like, well, of course you're starving, because you can't just eat fruit and veggies. You got to do your fruit and veggies. You got to do a protein. So eat cheese with your fruits and veggies. Eat peanut butter with your apples. Eat peanut butter with your celery. That's very American, I know, but so you might not do that either. But would you? Yeah. Sweet. And so peanut butter is phenomenal. Is a phenomenal filler up. It fills your belly up. And if you fill your belly up with water, fruits and veggies, and a great protein, and then you want a couple of biscuits, well, great, because then you just get 2 biscuits in there, and because your belly's full. Your belly only has this much room. So if you fill it up with all the good stuff, by the time you get to the biscuits, whatever, enjoy your 2 biscuits. It's no big deal. But if you start with the biscuits, well, you're going to keep on eating because it's empty sugar, and your body, when you eat empty sugar, so sugar goes up, your insulin goes up. As the insulin goes up, the sugar gets shoved into areas of your body that is not accessible for later on. So if you will, when you eat a cookie, the insulin goes up and it puts the sugar in places like the attic, the basement, like if your body was a house. And so when the next morning you're starving and you wake up and let's say you carry a couple extra pounds on, you're like, why am I not losing I have not eaten a couple of days. When the body goes to look for food, it doesn't go in the attic and it doesn't go in the basement. It eats your muscles. And so when it eats your muscles, you get more hungry, so you crave more junk, and you're eating more sugar, and the more sugar, it keeps getting put away in places where you have no access, so you're continuously starving and you're continuously hungry. And then that's why when people are like, I'm on a diet, I'm always hungry, that means you're just doing it wrong. You need to eat, when you eat healthy, you're never hungry. You're just not hungry. So if you're starving all the time, that means you're doing something wrong. A lot of times, fat, as I said, everyone's afraid of fat, everyone's afraid of protein, or they don't know how to use protein. So like a full-fat Greek yogurt, you eat a cup of that with some berries, and if you want to put a little bit of granola on there, you're not going to be hungry. My kids, because now their school is at 9, in the morning they have a smoothie, and I won't bore you, but anyway, I do a very healthy smoothie in the morning from scratch, and then they have eggs and toast with sliced avocado, and they keep telling me, they're like, it's amazing, we're never hungry until lunch. And at school in the United States, because their breakfast, they would just have the shake, but they wouldn't get the eggs part and the avocado, they were like always starving by the midnight snack, mid-morning snack, and the mid-morning snack is garbage in the United States. And so here, they're like, we don't even need anything at tea time because we're full. So, yeah.
I'll just check to see if there's any questions.
Yeah, question I can't see.
Oh, it says, but I thought peanut butter had 27 strains of fungus in it.
Oh, all right. Wow, okay.
Really?
Didn't know that. So it all depends on where your peanut butter comes from. I do buy my peanut butter organic. I do watch for sales. And let me tell you something about New Zealand prices, ladies. It's no joke. And so I have scoured this town up and down for prices on good food. And Common Sense Organics has has organic peanut butter in gigantic jars on sale, and they are non-fungicides because they don't have the gross oils in there. They don't have sugar added in there. It's just peanuts.
What you want to watch is the stuff that's made in China.
China's disgusting. Disgusting. Good one.
So the big label brands like, but the Australian ones.
What about Benin peanut butter? They just pour the peanuts in the top. They've got a big machine. Pour the peanuts in the top.
Oh, if you see them,
But I'm not sure where the peanuts come from.
Oh, well, right. And so that's why, so I don't know. Like, honestly, I go to the farmer's market. The butcher knows me because I have drilled and sent him emails about where his meat comes from. And I couldn't get a word out of the egg guy because the egg guy was focused on the Trump versus Clinton campaign. And I'm like, I just want to know where your hens are. Are they free roaming? Are they happy? He's like, yeah, but Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton? I'm like, this is not helpful. So that's the peanut butter question.
I don't know the name, but there is a peanut butter company. It comes from Nelson. That's in the supermarket. That's quite
But then
organic.
still,
Is it
you
Pix?
know where the peanuts come from.
Yes.
But it's
Pix?
Pix.
I think that it says on the back.
Yeah,
I think
and
they're
they
from Australia.
they come
No, it comes
from
from
Nelson.
Nelson.
Yeah, but the
Okay.
peanut butter, the peanuts they use, it says on the jar where they come from. The peanuts aren't grown in Nelson, are they? No.
It's actually not that hard to make your own peanut butter too.
You just put it in.
Put peanuts in the blender.
Yeah.
A bit of Himalayan
Low
salt.
oil.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Himalayan rock salt. Yeah.
And that's what they do
Coconut oil.
at Benin. That's all it is. It's just peanuts goes through a machine and it comes out as peanut butter.
Right.
That's all that's in it is peanuts.
Yeah.
And if you want to add, I think you can add salt.
Yeah, salted peanut salt. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to be more. It's got to be better for you than.
Well, the stuff that is jarred with the weird oils and the sugars are going to grow fungus. If you put anything in a jar and that's swirling in weird sugars and weird, that's going to, And almond butter is also fabulous. Yeah, $17 per jar. I know. I do use more Wilsons, but I'll tell you that I compare the more Wilsons with my Common Sense Organics, and their peanut butter was cheaper when it went on sale. It was... I don't know what that means. What is it?
Kiwi language.
Oh my god, I want. Oh, home cool. So Liz is offering home cool to you. Home cool is where instead of going the land, I'm becoming vegan. Anyway, I'm struggling with this, right? So where the cow or the sheep, whatever, instead of going to the works, to the meat abattoirs,
Yes.
they're killed on the farm.
Yeah, you hire a butcher that comes in and
You have a
butchers your
butcher.
own animals. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're more relaxed and they're more calm.
Calm, yeah.
Yeah.
The meat is just so tender.
Tender, right, yeah. Because they do that in the U.S. with they have this weird thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
yeah.
offering this to you, I think. That's what it is.
Yes, so Liz is offering to get you some home kill.
Sure, yeah, okay. Sweet. All right. Anything else?
So I have a question.
Yes, question, please.
We were talking on the way up. I used to be a very big fruit and vegetable eater, but I've developed digestive issues and I'm now being put on a low residue diet. So I actually cannot eat more than one apple a day. It has to be one apple every 4 days. So something like this would be a good supplement.
It is actually fabulous. And the way we use it in people that have sensitive digestive systems, you start very small. So for folks that don't have digestive systems, you can start with 2 capsules of each color, you're good to go. For my sensitive belly people, I say 1 capsule a day. Sometimes you can just start 1 red for the week. 1 red every day for the week. No issues, you add the green to the red. No issues, you add the purple. And then now you've gotten 1 of each color, and slowly your system is getting used to digesting it rather than overloading it with all the stuff. You can actually, your belly will get better digesting other fruits and veggies by using this. Because it's kind of a subtle, it's almost like if you ate an apple, it's called oral tolerance. It's a great question. So one of the things that we're doing now in babies, so a long time ago, and I don't know the process in New Zealand because I've not been in the clinics yet, but in the United States, we used to recommend that babies don't get peanut butter until they were 2 years old, and strawberries until 2, and fish until 3. Some completely ridiculous thing. And then they did a study that came from Israel, actually. Sounds so random. Israel versus England. Then that's because in Israel, they start giving kids peanut products and all foods from 4 months on. And in England, they were doing the American way. In England, they had as many allergies and food allergies and asthma as they do in the United States, versus in Israel, where they have hardly any food allergies. And so it's called oral tolerance. So if you have a little bit of peanut butter, a little bit of strawberries, as your immune system is maturing, your body starts to say, knowing it's food, and you're less likely to attack it later on thinking it's a weird object. Same thing with this, you're not able to digest things. It's almost like having a slice of apple every single day. In order to be able to get to eating an apple a day, getting your body trained with that. Yeah.
What about the refined oils? Olive oil, rice oil, all the...
Okay, which oils are we talking about? Olive oil.
Any oils?
So actually, olive oil. So I do get my organic olive oil.
Yeah.
Hey, from Laura Wilson's fabulous pricing. But also coconut oil. A lot of people are afraid of coconut oil, but it's a medium chain triglyceride. And so the olive oil is another great one, which actually does not deposit in your arteries. It's an anti-inflammatory. Those two are anti-inflammatory oils, and they're easily digested, easily processed. I will tell you that for my kids with constipation, besides this, I add a little bit of coconut oil to their diet. Problem solved. No issues. Yeah, amazing stuff. And it makes you full. So that when you put good oils in your, I mean, my kids' eggs are like full of olive oil. I don't particularly like the taste of coconut oil, so I use it in some of my baking stuff, but I don't usually, I've tried to do my potatoes in coconut oil, and oh my god, so olive oil it is, but those two I use. I don't use avocado oil a lot, so I don't have a lot of...
rice bran oil?
Which kind of oil?
Rice?
Rice bran.
Rice bran.
I don't know, I don't use that.
It's being pushed in New Zealand because it's got quite a high flame point,
So does vegetable oil. And vegetable oil it's easy to cook with because it has the same thing. So I went to a cooking class, and they had vegetable oil, and my girlfriends, I have brainwashed all of them in the United States. It's fantastic. So they're all like, oh, vegetable oil, we can't eat that. That's disgusting. She's told us that's really bad. And so the chef, because we're in a cooking class, we're supposed to put vegetable oil in the pot, and we did. We all put olive oil because and so it started flaming up really fast, and she was like, what are you girls doing? Like, why are you not? We're like, we don't eat vegetable oil. And she was like, well, if you're not going to eat vegetable oil, then what you do, you need to change the way you cook. So what you do with the olive oil, so this is from actually full chefs, so I can be corrected if that's wrong, but they said if you use olive oil and you put it in a hot pan, you need to put your vegetables right away on top of it to cool it down, so you don't let it heat up, because it will smoke and will burn the pot as well. So since I've changed that method, I've burned a lot less pots.
I do that. Put olive oil and then put vegetables.
Yes, and then you put them right